Hey there, Taurus Sun, Taurus Moon, Taurus Rising. Welcome to your What Do You Need to Know This Week reading. It is the week of August 7th through the 13th. I am recording this on the Lion's Gate. Those gateway readings will be linked up here. Might even remember to drop them in the description box, but I didn't count on that. All right, so we are looking at, some themes for this week, how to link them into a month, how do they relate to that, and we're going to get into the 9-card spread using the cute little Tranquil Lenormand deck, and we'll get some advice from you. So we'll see what happens here. I do want to encourage you to stick around to the end of the reading because they keep dropping nuggets in late in the readings. So I don't want you to miss out on anything that would be pertinent for you. Ooh, we have the card of love and December. So it could be with a Sagittarius, or it could be that you meet someone in September, or you take it to another level in September. We have the Dark Woman. Dealings or relationships with a woman with dark complexion or hair. Wheel, indecisiveness, allowing your life to ramble aimlessly. And then the Stork, news of a birth or a new business opportunity. Wow. So, opportunity, I guess. That wheel, the wheel and the aimlessness, it could be related to this new business opportunity, or it could be related to love. I don't know. We'll have to see. So, Taurus, you have between now and December, there is an eclipse coming up in your sign, one more big release and letting go. And so I think that'll be significant in helping to clear things out. It is happening on, I believe it's the 26th or the 28th of October. So it's in the end of October. And so it should clear out a lot of energy for you and make way for. Actually, we have pretty good astrological energy coming in December. The only thing in December is there is a Mercury retrograde, but that Mercury retrograde is it wraps up its cycle at the end of on January 1st, and so I almost feel like it's it stations direct. It doesn't clear its shadow until the middle of January, but it feels like in that fellow Earth sign as it backs up into Sagittarius and fires things up, and then as it moves forward, I think it really helps you to start the new year strong. And so I think that there's a need to consider in that month of December and moving toward that month of December as you're working through this last eclipse. It really helps you to clear some stuff out. What do you really love, right? Now, I don't know that it's so much about who you really love. Like, what are you looking for in partnerships, whether it is business or work? There's a need not to miss the opportunities when they present themselves. But I think right now you are healing, right? We've got the North Node has moved on, and so you were left with a lot of things that came up, a lot of things that were brought to the surface and putting you in a direction. And this aimlessness, I think you get a lot of clarity that allows you to pinpoint a direction coming up. But I think with so many planets in retrograde now, and Venus is one of them, and she rules your sign, and so that might be part of what you're like being really triggered in the emotional area of your life. She's in, if you're a Taurus rising, she's in your 4th house of home, and so, but there's this energy around matters of the heart because she's in Leo, no matter what, and strength and courage and value, and how do we apply all these things into our lives. You have a lot of stagnant, stuck energy here. Okay, this wheel here that says indecision, allowing your life to ramble aimlessly. Your indecision is allowing your life to ramble aimlessly. Overall energy is the clouds, it's confusion. In the energy of information, you have a lot of anxiety. And in the bottle here is captured this little seahorse, and the seahorse is about being emotionally imbalanced. And so it's almost as though you are trying to contain your emotions, and it's causing a lot of confusion and a lot of lack of clarity, indecisiveness. And you're going to transform the situation with two things. choosing a direction, like setting your anchor, which is really, because it feels like you're drifting around, like you're caught up in, and it's almost like you need to drop anchor. You need to make a choice about something that's really, it's creating a burden in your heart, because in the heart space we have the cross. Now, this could be a spiritual development thing, but I don't think so. When I look at this looks like there's a burden in your heart, because we have the cards of healing happening here in the heart space. And so I feel like you're going through a healing process. And I feel like this is about healing of yourself, right? It's the key. It's healing yourself. This dark woman here, so you're a feminine energy, right? Each of the signs have a feminine energy, or a masculine energy. Water and earth are feminine. This dark woman almost feels like more like your energy. The dark means like the shadow part of you. That's what it feels like. It feels like you need to get into the shadows and love yourself and choose yourself. And it may take you until December before you really figure out where to drop this anchor. Because at the end of December that's when the sun moves into a fellow earth sign. So it's going to move into one soon, but there'll be all this retrograde action going on. It may take you a little bit longer to really pinpoint this energy. And also we have some really raucous energy happening with that eclipse. There's actually two eclipses. One of them is in Libra, and the other one, so Libra also ruled by Venus. But these energies in October, it's going to be a lot of shifting energy, and it's going to take a little time for it to filter out. And so it could be that the calm and the peace and the clarity don't actually make their way through until we get to the end of December for you. But in the meantime, the way through this is to pick a path. We have the card of strategy up here in the how do you transform the situation, the fox. This is about business. This is about career. And what you feel that you're worth. The love. This feels more like self-love. It could be that there's a emotional relationship or you broke up or something like that, but I don't really see that in these cards here. I'm going to get some clarity on this before I go too much further here. But we have the stork, news of a birth or a new business opportunity. And to me, the stork, he's standing there, he's building the nest. And to me, a stork is always about having a long-awaited plan or news or information come in. And it is, and so if you were to look at it, it's like a 9-month cycle. But we do have this December thing. So if you back that up, back to maybe your birthday season, back in Taurus season, what was going on then? Or there might be even before then. I can't do math when I'm doing the channel. Okay. Whoa. Yeah, this is you. You're not done doing your shadow work. There is a need to go within. This dropping anchor, this is almost like going deep and getting down into your own self to figure out what the heck is going on. What is blocking your sense of emotional stability? We have dark moon Lilith, which says to face your shadow, and I don't know how to say this name, but it says no more hiding. No more hiding. And what is the anchor? It is the lighthouse. This is shining the light out there and seeing where all the rocks and the shoals and the currents are so that you can bring your ship safely into shore, right? And so no more hiding. This confusion and clouds, you're drifting aimlessly. And unless you do the deep dive, what is the obstacle? It's this divine feminine receptive energy frozen in time. It's like not being open to receiving the news and information, and it is blocking you in the area of resources, because we have the man, but it's a statue. There's two men in this. One of them is moving, and this one is solid, and it's standing still and is decaying. And so there's a stagnant energy around resources, and resources are emotional, financial, physical, they're mental, they're spiritual, whatever, right? So wherever you're feeling stuck or blocked or whatever is not happening, there's a need to face your fear about why are you hanging on That's why this last eclipse is coming up in your sign. Why are you hanging on? Because the North Node has moved out of your sign. And you're still hanging on to some old paradigm which is stopping you. Maybe you need to pull up anchor, because this anchor doesn't have any rope attached to it. It's just sitting there at the bottom. Maybe you need to cut yourself loose, but you need a direction. And unless you face your fears and recognize what are you afraid of. You know, I hate it when they say, oh, are you afraid of success? I personally hate that statement, but what I want to say is, what fears are blocking you from success? And I feel like it's more of a fear of failure than a fear of success. I think that sometimes in life we always reach a certain pinnacle, a certain point, and then it seems like everything collapses out from under us and we slide right back down, right? And so if you've reached that part, sometimes we're afraid, and this would be what they call fear of success, to take the next step, right? Because maybe it's all going to collapse again. But before you take that next step, if you can pinpoint why does it crumble at that point? What is it that doesn't allow you to level up? Is it a lack of confidence? Is it a lack of actual skills? Is it a lack of if it's a relationship, is it a lack of relationship skills, communication skills? Most things are about communication skills, whether it's business or personal. So where can you sharpen your saw? Find a new tool for your toolbox, whether that's in your relationship toolbox, or if it's in your business toolbox, in your financial planning toolbox, or what is it that is holding you back from leveling up? And there's a need to use this retrograde period with Mercury in the strategy sign of Virgo, and Mars is there right now also until the end of the month. And so this is a time to evaluate and to do some strategy to figure out what is it, what is the fear, what is the shadow, what is the thing that always makes you feel like you're just like the ground, like sandstone, just falls out from underneath you and it's not solid. This is about not hiding from your deepest fear. Is it fear of rejection? You know, maybe when you were little and you were in your family loved you, and your other family, like your parents would be like, oh, look at so-and-so, they did such a great thing. And your siblings were like, oh my God, they're always talking great stuff about Taurus, right? Like, stop it. Or is it that, you know, you weren't recognized when you would do something, like you would help out or whatever, but it was just taken for granted. Like, I feel like there's something, and we have Chiron in Aries right now where the North Node is. It's not conjunct yet, but that energy is there, and it is about healing that inner child, because it's also retrograding. And so we're healing that inner child. We're peeling back the layers, and we're going deep to see. And you have one more eclipse coming up after that new moon in Libra at the South Node, which, even though it's a new moon, it's about releasing and letting go. And so we're coming into the cycle of releasing and letting go, releasing and letting go. And right now, with all these planets in retrograde, Venus, your ruling planet's in retrograde. We have Mercury, fellow Earth sign, is retrograding and going to fall in Virgo, right? The strategy. There's a need right now to do that deep dive, to really go in and figure out what the burden in your heart is. What is it on your heart that has got you frozen in time? So you can pull up anchor and sail to the island of success, whatever that means to you. There's a long way to change that's coming in. But there's all this, you got something blocking it. Confusion is blocking it. And I think part of that clarity is identifying what really has value to you, what needs to be healed, and then doing the work of it. And so for some of you, maybe you need to speak to a financial planner because maybe you need education. For some of you, maybe you need to seek a counselor to talk about your childhood woundings and get that stuff healed. Somehow it's impacting your confidence and your capabilities, or your confidence in your capabilities. Wow. There is confusion, right? Indecisiveness is creating the confusion, or confusion is creating the indecisiveness. That could go either way. The clouds here. Then we have the card of caution and trick. Caution is the mountain goat. The trick is the monkey. And the monkey says, things may not be as they appear to be. Don't be fooled. Hear. Really listen. Communication is muddled right now. It's going to get more and more muddled over the next few weeks, 2 months really. Mercury doesn't clear its shadow until October 18th, right in between those two eclipses. So things are not really going to be clear. So this December timeline makes a lot of sense to me, right? So don't just hear, listen. Don't just look, see. Don't just sense, feel. What do you feel? It's a big burden around the heart here. Be prepared to lose if you take this risk, yet you are an incisive problem solver, and you could see through the deception. Your ability to create a strategy. Pay attention to the details. What's tripped you up before? I heard tricked, but what has tripped you up? What has stopped and blocked you before, and you're afraid to push because that might happen again? It's about stretching past it. The caution one doesn't say to don't go. It says to pay attention. This one doesn't say don't go. It says to pay attention, that you are capable of figuring this out. The fox in the area of how to transform this situation says you can figure this out. The anchor in the action it takes says, but until you figure it out, you can't get to where you're going. There's a need to figure out where it is safe to put your next foot. But don't let fear stop you from figuring it out. Just because it hasn't worked out in the past doesn't mean it won't work out in the future. But it does mean, right, that if you put your foot in the same place, it's going to happen again. So how can you place your foot differently? How can you find a different handhold? How can you do it differently? You're back to that same space. Now, how do you make that next elevation, right? How do you lift yourself up? Multiple colors blind your eyes, right? The confusion of the clouds. Discordant sounds deafen your ears. Pause. Carefully seek out and think through your options. This may not be the right time, but don't be afraid. Be cautious. Consider both sides of the story. I think with this lightning in the bottle, this electric eel here in the heart space, as the source of anxiety, I do think that you've taken a risk in the past and it didn't pan out, and you're like right there on the precipice of change again, and you can't. You feel paralyzed by fear. Face your fears. Don't hide from your fears. Face them. And then, using your brilliant brain, strategize and figure out how to take the next step towards success, right? There's an opportunity coming in. And it's going to speak to your heart. But you're going to need to do your shadow work. You got to do the shadow work. You got to figure out what drives this fear inside of you that causes you to hang on so tightly instead of allowing yourself to fly free, to get to the next level. Something's stopping you. But that is something that only you can figure out. It's only you, and maybe you and your therapist. Like, I'm not gonna say that, if sometimes that's the route to go, right? And there's plenty available online now. You can fit it in almost anywhere in your schedule. So you're being asked to be a beacon of hope to shine your light out there. And to look for the pitfalls. Be aware of them, right? Be aware of them. The ships coming in use the lighthouse to see the dangers, but the lighthouse gets them safely into port. I feel like you're being led safely into port, but you are your own lighthouse. You're going to have to figure out how to navigate the rocks facing your fears. Don't hide. Don't hide from yourself. All right, wow, quite the reading, Taurus. I'm on Facebook every day. If you want to join us over there, we're working with Venus to feel more empowered. And I do personal readings, and I have a post up there of what dates are available. So be sure to check that out if you're interested, or send me an email. The information for that is in the description box below. You guys take good care. Talk to you soon.